Then as I switch, this comes up and it's a strike.
Welcome back to another Kyokushin Society vlog where we discuss Kyokushin Karate and other martial arts related content. Today, we have Shihan Charles from Kyokushin Karate Oswego take us through a brief history of kata, and then he will demonstrate bunkai for the Pinan Sono son with the help of Sensei Andy. Shihan Charles began training in martial arts at the age of 10. He started his full contact career with Sensei Doug Brown in 1994. Together, they have competed all over the United States and Canada. Shihan Charles is the 1997 Kyokushin U.S. Open Heavyweight Champion and the 1998 North American International Heavyweight Champion, and was one of the 4 fighters to represent the United States in the 7th World Open, an event held once every 4 years in Tokyo, Japan. Shihan Charles is also a certified N.A.K.O. Defensive Tactics instructor who has experience training recruits and veteran police officers in street survival. And now, let's go to Shihan Charles, starting with a brief explanation of the history of kata, then the bunkai for Pinan Sono son. And while that is happening, I'm going to continue my book, What is Karate? And keep on studying. Us.
I think before we start breaking the kata down, I think we need a little history of kata in the basis of where it's come from and the evolution that we've changed. It's very important to realize that kata is a formal way of doing something, but it's a formal way because of a certain reason. And the big date that was always told to me was 1609, and 1609 was the last time that Japan conquered Okinawa, which everybody has heard the theory that karate was developed in Okinawa and it got transferred to mainland Japan through Gichin Funakoshi in the early 1900s, late 1800s. Prior to it coming to Japan, prior to it being karate do, which was what Funakoshi had started, it was actually karate jitsu, and literally translated to empty hand techniques. Jiu-jitsu was the pre of judo. Judo was the way of bowing, the courtesy, the respect. Jiu-jitsu was those soft techniques, which we've all known. If we've ever been thrown, we've ever been slammed, we've ever had an arm lock, there's nothing soft about it. But it's that transformation over to that modern karate. 1609 is very important because that is when all martial arts training, all self-defense was outlawed. All their weapons were taken away and they weren't allowed to do it. Forms, katas were developed at that time. The katas were developed to have hidden meanings behind them, and we call them bunkais. And these bunkais are what we translate to what we're doing and the movements that were there. We keep in mind the tradition and the art, and then the bunkai. I have always told my students, there's one thing to know a kata, then there's to know a kata. And if I know it, I know that I look left and I block left. To know it, I am knocking somebody's strike down, or somebody's grabbing a hold of me and I'm pulling my arm back. So several different variations. And as we go through these bunkais today, you may see something different than what you were taught. That doesn't mean that that person who taught you that is wrong. I'm going to show you a way. I'm never going to show you the way. There's different variations. And I'm going to tell you, I got to give a shout out to Kancho, because I'd always learned Seiha as avoiding a sweep and Tatsui, striking, or Shote, boom, right? And then he said, grab, pull, sweep. And my mind goes back to judo of pulling and sweeping that lead foot. Now, in all the years that I've done this, I never had it presented that way. All the years of doing sweeps and throws, I never saw it that way. It wasn't until he said, sweep and throw, that it was like the light bulb goes off. because I always had it as avoiding a sweep and striking. There's somebody who's coming up behind you. So it makes sense. You're pulling that person forward as they're stepping forward. You're doing that inside coachy sweep, and then you're striking. So again, as we do it, we will see different variations. The other thing that you got to keep in mind is bunkais, they vary off. Don't think that they're going to follow exactly as the kata is movement. There's variations of it. And again, if things are disguised in movements or dances or something that's not to be considered a martial art or a way of defending myself, then they've been hidden a little bit. And so you're going to see a lot of different variations, and we're going to go through them. Today, we're going to go through Pinan Sono San. And again, I had to have Sensei Andy here because how we originally traditionally always did this was, this is the kata, this is the movement, practice it with a partner. And we made it so that it was feasible. So again, if there's questions, unmute, ask. This is that time to ask that question. Why are we doing it this way? Why not doing it that way? As we got into that reach down. And again, if you think of traditional karate, there wasn't no gi. There was canvas pants. You've got to remember that they always attacked that foundation and they were reaching down. And if you even look into this is karate, what is karate by Sosai, you will see that there's a lot of hand motions reaching down below that belt. Again, as the sport, as the competition, we say don't drop our hands below the waist because we want to protect our head. But in the traditional martial arts and that traditional kata in self-defense, there is a lot of reaching down and grabbing that leg and pulling that person off balance so that you can obviously take them down while you still stand up. In kata, I come up to Musubadachi. I always had this as he's going to grab a hold of me and I'm knocking the hands off of me. This next movement is the strike. So again, he's striking, I'm blocking, he's going to grab, I'm knocking the hands off. My next move is that uraken, up to the face. If you have a partner, train it. And when somebody's going to reach to grab you, try to grab them. Now, I see a lot of different variations that I use leverage, that I do this, that I do this. I've always thought, don't let them get you. I used to do a trick, not a trick, but I used to test the students out at the college when I taught it in SUNY Oswego. Every one of them, it was a good hodgepodge mix of different styles. And I used to tell all of them, do you have something in your style to get me off of you? They'd all say yes. And I used to say, show me. This man is my witness. Nobody's ever broke my hands off of us. Never. Once I locked on, they could do all of that they wanted. I had one student who was a second dan in Taekwondo. And he said to me, he's laughing. He said, anything, Sensei? I said, anything. He cocked back and hit me right in the face. And I looked at him, thinking that he was going to do some sort of leverage movement or knocking the hands off or off balancing him. He was shocked, but I didn't let go of him. So at the end of the day, don't let somebody grab a hold of you. That's the most basic variation. And then as I switch, this comes up and it's a strike. So as we got 1, 2, 3. So and again, kata, I'm here. We're not seeing that flow of the knock, of that strike. And even in practical application, this doesn't have to drop. This can just come up. I like this, but my problem is where do I go from this? I don't know how well you see where we're at. That's why I really like this one, because this automatically comes up with that strike. next movement in the kata is that reinforced block. This hand, whether it's in Seihin Chin where it's open, or majority of the time where our fist is right alongside of it. I've always had that as you're facing a much bigger, stronger opponent, and my single block just isn't going to work. Or it's that big swing, and they've got an object or something in their hand as they're striking, and I've got that reinforcement going into that. And again, it's just backing it a little bit. This, and I've heard Concho say it, this is pushing it as I'm going. That is what I'm doing there. Push. Now, so where we were for that movement, as I'm here, and my hands are coming back. If you could just switch your feet from here. And I'm coming down, and I'm reaching behind the calf. So again, I know that somebody has said grabbing the gi. The gi's not going to do much movement. Especially if I'm moving back here, and I'm getting down there, and I want to get that ankle as close to the ground as possible. And if you think of a sweep, I'm not sweeping. I don't want to sweep here. That's not going to do any good. I want to go here. I've got to get my foot as close, and that's why we call it a sweep versus strike or a kick. And I want to, when I sweep, just like I would do with the reap of the hand, I want to go in the direction of the toes. So I'm not coming in this way and going against it. I'm coming this way and I'm pulling up. So again, it becomes don't think of kata when I'm doing bunkai. So we've got our reinforced blocks. Hands are up. I've got that knock down the kite, right? So I'm using my spear hand. My spear hands would be going here, or my spear hands would be going here. So I'm taking, the old rule was, I take something hard and I hit something soft. I take something soft, I hit something hard. If I hit hard and hard, only the bigger and the stronger is going to win. So again, that knockdown, Nikite, can be right there in that sternum and right in that solar plex. Striking in. The Okinawans used to say, a year to master this, 5 years to master this, 10 years to master this. So again, as each one becomes more and more detailed, Ippon Ken versus that Nikite, we don't condition our fingers like some styles do in striking, whether we start with soft sand, go to pebbles, and then go to stones. You'll see it in a lot of different videos, a lot of different variations of those traditional Okinawan schools that do that. And again, is it just because we've got so much more? You know, all they do is traditional stuff. Some schools, all they do is sports stuff. We sort of teeter that line quite a bit, but we never want to lose that the origin where that came from. So again, that knockdown, Nikite, and again, if you have a partner, hands up. Push. From here, that movement, Senpai was asking about it, and I want big motion, like a reap. If you think about cutting grass, and again, Concho tried to explain it, but it's that movement. And even in a sweep or a throw, if I hard to move that, right? It's very hard to move to get that sweep. But if I step, with movement, I'm going to get him to go. But if I've got him planted, he's not going to go. But if I get that little bit of motion, it works a little bit different. This reap is that same way. And again, that hand is coming down. pulling that ankle up from here. I'm turning and I'm tatsuing. Right from that motion. As soon as I take that person off balance, and I've got him moving this way, spin. Strike, boom. So if we come from here, 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 up, strike, grab, punch. When we turn and we come here, and again, in kata is form, it's tradition, it's art. When we get to this point, as a fighter, we say, what in the world are we doing? Why would we stand like this? What would be the benefit of standing like this? We throw a kick, then what is this? We have missed the concept of attacking the foundation with the legs. I am a personal fan of this. I like hitting that. Matsui in the 4th World Open, he loved hitting those legs, like punching those kicks, like punching the foot, using your hand against their legs. That's what this block is. You're knocking that down, and from that knockdown, again, uraken. We're going back up, striking. So it's a block and a strike. And even though our count is off, the flow would be as one motion. Again, with a partner, we would work that. Whoops. Our next variation is we're going to come here and here. What we get confused of is this strike is actually here. Behind me. 1, 2. So again, we always think it's in front of us. Another variation of that is that strike is out, I'm turning. In kata, I'm here, but here I'd be here, right? That comes right back to here, whether this hand is here or it's here. So the block, spin. Then we make that motion over and up behind. And again, somebody is behind me. I am striking here, striking here. So Kato is always saying, the elbow's not here, bring the elbow here. And the reason behind that is that strike is going behind me. I'm hitting the solar plex here, and I'm hitting here. And again, at the same time,
Oh, good. You are still here. Hope you enjoyed this video with Shihan Charles and our Sensei Andy, being thrown all over the place. These are just some bunkai techniques that we practice in Kyokushin Karate. Leave a comment and let me know if you guys would like to see more bunkai videos in the future. Us. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys on the next video. Arigato. Let's see. Pinan Sono. Yes.